Ladies and gentlemen, Elijah Bowie is about to come on and seriously burn it up, ignite you, your sales potential, your income, and really allow you to crush some high-ticket sales and serve people in the biggest, best way possible. Before that, let's talk about the sponsorship message. If you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, not connected to your potential, 21-day challenge is here to reignite you, get crystal clear on your goals, dial them into daily actions, and hold you accountable for 21 days straight. That's the 21-day challenge, one-on-one support. If you want to know more, send me an email, chris@beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook and let me know you're ready for the 21-day challenge. Looking forward to talking to you about your 21-day goal. Now, we have an iTunes review of the week. And guess who it is by, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my goodness gracious, it's by Miss Letran. Miss Letran says, great info, great energy. Thanks, Chris, for sharing vital info on how to improve your mindset and bring your A game out. That's what it's all about. Greatest possible self, peeps. Let's bring it. Bring in the heat. If you want to give us a review, we absolutely appreciate it. Go subscribe, go listen on iTunes, and give us a review. Let us know your thoughts. You can find us at Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Search us on iTunes or search beyourgps.com/iTunes. Put that in your URL. It'll also take you to the same spot. Either way you find it, go leave a review and let us know what you love, what you feel could use improvement on, and how we can serve you even better. Thanks so much in advance for doing that. Now, I'm about to introduce Elijah Bowie on here in just a bit. Before that, though, just know this dude is a powerhouse. He's a rising star. He's bringing the heat, and he's here to do it with the biggest heart, with integrity, with accountability, with authenticity, and ethics. And I really love people who show up in a sales role like that, who really bring the love to sales, because sales is such a good thing. It makes the freaking world go around. So if you want to amp up your mindset around sales, your relationship to sales, and you want to sell more, you want to grow your company, you want to impact more people's lives, you want to serve them, stay tuned in this interview because he's going to bring the fire. Tons of gold. Stay tuned all the way through till the end because you never know what one idea can transform the rest of your life. Let's introduce him and then bring him on. Elijah Bowie. Elijah is a high-ticket enrollment expert who is changing the way entrepreneurs do sales, bringing the human back into human interaction. He loves spending time with his wife, Brynn. They just got married last year, so beautiful. Traveling, and most importantly, giving clients that aha moment, the game-changing moment. And Elijah's here to be a game changer for us. Elijah, you ready to rock this, bro?
Dude, I'm ready.
Oh, we ready. We're ready. Ooh. You're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Elijah, thanks so much for being here and taking time out of your schedule to share with our audience and empower and uplift us to become masters at sales and break through whatever kind of nonsense that might be standing in our way so that we can truly receive the abundance that we deserve from the value that we give in the world and trade and offer in exchange. Thank you so much, man.
Dude, thank you for having me. It's truly an honor. I know we chatted early in the week. Like anytime I can jump on and share my mission,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. So, and you got a good thing going on. I like good people. So let's roll.
Yes. I love it, man. So let's dive right into the theme, which is today, wonder and possibility. Elijah, what does wonder and possibility mean for you? How does it show up in your life?
Man, wow, that's a good one. So wonder is a great word. I can remember even as a kid, my mom would call it challenging, by the way. She would call, I was a challenging kid. It wasn't like in a bad way. I was always asking questions, right? I would just wanted to know why. And so when you said that word, that's immediately what I linked it to. It's just like wonder. And for me, that word means like untapped, just exponential growth, right? Like that, to me, that's like what fuels everything. I'm always just like, man, I kind of, even in my coaching style with like kinds of stuff, like that's like the tone I take on. It's like, I kind of wonder if, or, like what if, so for me, it's just like the driving force behind, me learning anything. And then, so wonder, that's what wonder means for me. What was the second word? I like, that really threw me off, the wonder word.
it was so impactful. So there's wonder and then possibility.
Oh gosh, dude, possibility for me is unlimited.
Yes.
Like I've always, and sometimes you have to slow yourself down You know, I really just feel for me, like, and for all of us, by the way, like everyone, like we can truly do anything, like everything's possible. And I'm always intrigued. I always wonder, you know, like why we set limits on things. Like when I look at, we accept a lot of things as facts, but like when you look back at our history, like it was a fact that humans could never go to the moon. It was a fact that humans couldn't run a sub, you know, 4-minute mile. Like, yeah, like, until someone's like, I wonder if, and, you know, if this is possible. And so for me, it's just like, while some people may look at it like, oh, maybe only this is possible for me, I look at it as like, it's just like overflowing. Like, it's always just like, I'm like, get here and it just keeps going. I'm like, dude, anything's possible if I just keep like pushing for it. So those what those words kind of mean to me.
That's beautiful, man. I love it. It's like, it's the domain where anything can happen. Wonder and possibility. It's like it's the dimension, it's the realm, it's the, you know, it's the sandbox, the playground, whatever you want to call it. It's like when you step into those things, anything can happen. And you're making some incredible things happen, Elijah. So tell us a little bit more about how you are serving your clients and what you stand for in the world today.
Dude, yeah, I mean, what we're doing now is, I'm actually, you know, kind of like mad at myself that it took me so long to realize that how passionate, how much I enjoy this part of business. Because I love business, but like right now, what we're truly focused on is sales. And I know like now there's some people listening that are like, oh my God, he said the dirty word. Right? You can see like on my shirt, it's like business, but the dollar signs. Like I can make you money. Like, because like it's kind of like this dirty word. I feel like there's only these two options right now in the world, especially in entrepreneurship, where it's like, either I have to be this super hardcore closer and I got to manipulate and go get the deal no matter what and close. And if I do that, we've seen that can be successful, right? And I can grow my business. But if I don't want to be like that, that for some reason, that means I miss out, right? That I can't grow my business, that I can't have the money I want. And I've actually seen that cap a lot of people out. And so, like you said earlier, my goal right now, what we're doing is I'm using something I created called the 3-step selling system, is like putting the human back into human interaction, but specifically around the sales conversation, right? It's like, how can I sell anything that I have to offer, even including myself, to somebody without being salesy or manipulating people? Or also, because I feel like some people feel like, hey, if I don't go push hard, that means I have to discount and lowball myself, right? I have to undercut myself. And that's just not the case. So that's what we're up to right now.
That's powerful, man. And you know, I hear your stand for doing it like above board, doing it the right way, doing it human to human, like with love, with compassion, with integrity. And that's something that's super important for us as well. And typically a value like that is ingrained in us from contrast, or like something that didn't go that way when we were growing up, or, you know, we're instilled with those beliefs from a very early age because of our family and our environment. I'm curious which happened for you. So, and also let's go back into that journey. Where did it all begin for you, man?
Man, yeah, you're so right. That's 100%. Like, one, it is somewhat is society, but it's even like it's doubled down on like within your actual family.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I'm the second oldest of 10. I have one sister, and I love my parents to death because we never went without, right? It was never like, and we don't have anything. But I also knew that there was so much more, and I was fueled, like I wanted it since a very young kid. I was like, this is cool, and I know my parents are doing the best that they can possibly.
Yeah.
But like, I refused even at a young age to believe that, like, and a lot of people believe this, by the way, that there's just some success gene. And if I don't have that, right, then I'm not going to be able to reach certain heights, or, you know, other social things like, oh, I'm African-American. There's certain, you know, stereotypes and things that are set for me. And man, if I hit, you know, I'm just supposed to hit those. And so my relationship with money was, you know, like most people's probably, right? It was like, you know, you get taught like, oh, you should save your money, and you know, put, you know, if a penny saves, a penny earned, and all these things that really don't hold any weight, and we won't really get into them now. But like, you know, so that was kind of my relationship with money. But I was an entrepreneur at a very young age. Like, I think probably 8 or 9 is when I started. So my parents, My dad actually has an at-home computer service business,
Wow.
and mom's always had different things going on, whether there was like jewelry making or things like that. But like literally, I remember at like age 8 or 9, man, I used to get in trouble with my parents because I would like be like, the internet was kind of really popping in as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But looking on the internet, I'm learning how to create viruses. I'm building viruses and putting them on my dad's computer, man. I'm like, yeah, like just because I'm like, man, like how do people create viruses? You know what I'm saying? Like that wonder factor. But also like, so my parents, instead of like really bashing me for that, they really pulled me in, and at a young age, I was able to like build their websites for their businesses and kind of run the social media,
awesome.
content from there at a very young age, which was cool. And then kind of fast forward to sophomore year of high school,
mm-hmm.
is when I had my next real entrepreneurial type deal, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We had this project in school where we were actually supposed to analyze the largest water company in the Midwest at the time, look at their business model, and create this presentation on what we think they should do different. Uh-huh. And they actually had board members come in and grade that. And when they actually did that, they liked my I got an A, of course, right? I was a good student, but when they actually did that, they actually created a position for me and hired me as a sophomore or junior, I can't remember which one it was. But I became the social media and branding manager for the largest water company in the Midwest. So that was like a really cool thing for me then as well. And that's
a huge accomplishment that you can like set your hat on, for forever, right? Like you mentioned that it's not necessarily that you had it from birth or, depending on your genes and different stuff like that. But I think that's something that's super important, I think something that's super important is when you have a story in your head, in your mind, that you're the hero, that you are, here to serve, to, build the legacy, leave the legacy, whatever. And you use the evidence of the past to share why that's so powerful, man. And having a story like that is true, that from 8 or 9 years old, I was doing entrepreneurial things. I was the entrepreneur, and I even got my entrepreneurial efforts rewarded in sophomore year of junior high, or high school, which most people, they never do that. They have to go through college and then screw up their way and all that stuff. So for you, it happened really early on, which, leveraging that's got to be super powerful for you.
Yeah, it's something that I didn't really think about too much at the age, but it is really cool. And I like something that you said there, and I think it is key. I do think that there's no success genes, but there are people 100% who are born entrepreneurs, right? There's this thing now where people are teaching entrepreneurship. I think you can call it entrepreneurial tendencies, but there are some people who are just entrepreneurs, and I was that person where I was like, I'm a great worker, but inside I was like, I'm not supposed to be being told what to do. I'm not supposed to do these assignments. I'm supposed to go create something and make an impact. So yeah, I like that.
I love that. And from the beginning of making an impact, why was that important to you to make an impact and also the language of influence people, leave a legacy, make a difference. And a lot of that is also tied to not wanting to have any regrets when you die as well. I'm curious where did that really start to blossom for you?
Yeah, that's interesting. You're so right that a lot of people it's kind of I don't want to have regrets when I die. For me, it was, I believe that everything that someone would point at and say, hey, that's a flaw for you is actually your superpower. And so at a young age, especially when I was younger, I remember I liked to be liked. And I was popular throughout growing up. But I was like, man, I like being liked. But I didn't want to compromise myself either. And so through just, spending time with myself, found out that by making an impact, right? I started doing this really young with my friendships, and actually, I had some friends later on, high school and stuff, call me out on it. But we're everyone would be oh man, you left from an interaction with me and you felt really good about yourself because I made you feel good about yourself, right? And I just knew that if I did that, you weren't going to be able to forget me, right? And so it was almost this insecurity thing where it's I never want to interact with someone. I never want and let them forget me. So that kind of fueled into my entrepreneurship as well. I don't want to live on this planet for 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 years. And when I die, that's it, right? I don't want to die twice. And, the first death I call is just when you physically die, right? That's going to happen to everybody. but I don't want to die again, where basically like the second death is like where when the last living person on earth mentions your name. And I'm like, golly, you know how cool? And this is like ego and insecurity, like, you know, like think of people like Mother Teresa, like all these people that have done things where it's like, they're dead, they're gone. They've been gone for a really long time. And my grandkids and their kid, like their name is always going to be brought up. It's super cool to me. And so to me, I directly tie that to impact.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it, Elijah. That's so cool. And I love your self-awareness too. Noticing that I wanted to make people feel good so that they would remember me. And I think there's the Maya Angelou quote that says, you know, people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Right. And that's super powerful that you tapped into that knowingness about what's valuable and what's important to you. So fast forward through this, you know, you're working at this company. What was your next evolution from there?
Man, like, so I worked there through high school. Then I went to college, and I say that begrudgingly. College is great for some people. It's something you have to do to get some places for certain things. Yes, you're a doctor. But anyway, I went because I was an athlete and I wanted to play college football. That again, more was for my ego. I loved playing football. Yeah. But like, I'm like at that time, I was like small. I was like, I think when I first realized and had school start looking at me, I was like 5'6", like 140, man. Wow. And I just wanted to be able to say that, like, hey, not only did I like play in high school, I played in college. And so went there and was in school. And so I just like basically, you know, studied business, general stuff. But my next entrepreneurial thing actually came second semester of freshman year. So I went on a partial scholarship at a great Division II university. Great football program, won a couple conference championships there and all those things. But I was on a full scholarship and I'm second oldest of 10, right? Like mom and dad don't have the money to pay for this private school that's like $45,000 a year. Right. So after the fall season, since I played football, I went and got a job at a gym down the road, this big box gym. And dude, I literally worked there for all of like 3 months. By the way, just like a side note in my life, I believe I only took that job now looking back to find my wife because that's where we met.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And literally we crossed paths. Like she came right like as I started working and like passed like right as I quit. But I'm there for like 3 months and I was just like, I wasn't even a trainer. I just like worked there in operations. We like fixed random stuff. And I'm like, dude, I can do this and I can do this way better and like give the people better results, like provide a better experience and make more money than I'm making right now. And so I quit like 3 months in and like went and started my own gym. Yeah. Just like,
so what was the process to starting your own gym? Did you just like find a space? Did you have to get a loan? Like what was your startup process?
So I knew I wasn't gonna get a loan. I had just collected student debt. I was young. I didn't have any credit history. So what I actually did was there was this like warehouse gym that I had been training in growing up in high school. I went to them and I was like, hey, can I like pay or share like profits with you for me to like train here? And they're like, sure. And so that's kind of how it started. It's just kind of like, you know, hey, I'll pay for this space if you guys allow me to use it. And then, dude, I went through every single Facebook contact I had. Sometimes I can still find messages. Every single LinkedIn contact I had. And this is back when by the way, like I had a LinkedIn when like they didn't let kids on LinkedIn. I think they changed it now. But, like I was like, I had a LinkedIn profile. But like, so I'm like, I went everyone and I'm like, hey, this is what I got going on. And just like straight, like, you know, pounding the wood to like get some of those first few clients. And so that's what I did for like that first year, really. And it's funny because when I look back, I always tell this story, like we made so little money that first year that like when I went to do taxes, Uncle Sam was like, yeah, no, bro, you're
good. You're good.
We don't need any of that. But it was funny because I had so much fun. I was like, dude, I'm building this thing up from the ground. Yeah. And like every single penny I went would just go right back into it. I would borrow money from my now wife. I'd be like, hey, babe, look, like, I'm not sure if you know of like Thumbtack, the service. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So I'd be like, hey, look, I need credits because you buy like a credit package. So like, I was like, I need some credits. She'd like, you know, give me whatever little money she had. And that's how I did it. Like I would sit down with these people talk to them, and close them, and then they would sign up, and we would just like keep going from there. So that was like a blast. That's like how it started, how it launched.
Dang, that's so powerful, man. So you're doing this gym, you got to do whatever it takes, like scraping the money together, paying the bills, and
Right.
you're like knocking on everybody's door in your friends list and your contact list. You're like, hey, come join, come on, and you're just like doing. I love that, like it's the whatever it takes mentality. That's that entrepreneur scrapping kind of mentality, doing whatever it takes as long as it takes. So you start this gym, and then you're a year in. What was the evolution from there?
We started growing and picking up some steam. I had a bunch of fun. It fed my ego because I'm like, hey, I'm building something, which is what I love to do, build businesses.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm going back to school, but like I don't want to, like, I'm not letting this go. So I was like, both, like around my football schedule, around my class schedule, I like I fit clients in, and like literally my schedule was like 4 a.m. lifting, football. That was like 4 to 6. There was like breakfast, 8 a.m. class to like 1 lunch, meetings for football, practice to like 4:30 or 5, maybe 5:30, and I would jet straight back across town to like the gym because it was on the other side of town, and just like train clients to like 8:39. Go home, redo it all over, like go to my dorm, redo it all over again. And so like, but it was like working, right? I was like getting some, some money here, and we actually started like picking up some steam. And the space I was at, I love them to death for, giving me that opportunity, but there was actually some issues there, like just with the facility and how they were upkeeping it, and a good look for clients, and I didn't want to be associated with it, kind of where they were headed. So I started looking for this other spot, and so we moved. So like February 1st of 2016, we moved to this new spot. And by then I had actually dabbled in some Facebook marketing and stuff that year before as well. And really just kind of learned the basis of like how to attract some people. Because for me, I knew if I could just get someone in front of me and they had a problem I could solve, sweet, they were gonna sign up. And so I kind of had dialed some stuff in. And so 2016 really started picking up for me, and we like took off. Like for me, it took off. Like that year, I think. Oh my God, I did. So I remember growing up, I thought like, man, if I could make 40K, that'd be huge. Yeah. And I did like 82,000 or something that year, and I was like, dude, yeah, I'm making it. And then I like actually brought my wife in, my now wife, to help me, and like kind of I hired her. I was like, hey, look, I'm not gonna pay you. I'm gonna give you a percentage. Yeah. And she's all dying. She's still like teasing me about it now, because then I was like, oh well, I'm gonna pay you. Like she never got a percentage. I ended up salarying her later, but then like brought her on. Hired another trainer, and so we really just started growing, man. Like dial in our marketing and sales, and was able to build a team, and actually I was able to grow that to $500,000 annual revenue studio, which is amazing for me. It was like, to me, again, just the coolest thing ever. One, because I had never thought about that type of money before, like that I'd be able to do that. Yeah. By the way, anyone listening to this, I don't want this to sound rude. It's easy to do, right? I think like, before you like hitting 6 figures, I was like, oh, I got to get to 6 figures. And then you hit it and you're like, this is not a lot. Like, cool and stuff. I'm like, this is not a lot. Like this has to be more. And so yeah, we kind of grew it to about $500,000, and then I actually just I was able to sell my business in 2018 in June. Yeah, wow. That business.
That's awesome, man. What was the decision to sell it? Why'd you do that?
Because of my passion for business and sales and other things I wanted to do. I was never, even though I was an athlete and I had always worked out, I wasn't like, there's some people who are like, hey, I'm a fitness person and this is like my dream. That was never my dream. Remember, I'm just an entrepreneur, and I'm like, dude, I'm working at the gym and I see these dudes and I'm like, you're an idiot. And, because I'm a college athlete as well. So I'm like seeing some of the stuff they're training. I'm like, I can do this, right? That's the entrepreneur in me. And so I just did, right? It had nothing to do with like this love or passion for fitness really or anything like that. And as most entrepreneurs do, my passion just kept like in middle of 2016, because we started growing, people started asking for help, like with their marketing and sales and stuff. So I started helping them, and dude, I fell in love with that. And so that just grew and grew and grew on me. And then finally, actually, it grew until in 2017, we started a digital marketing agency. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then sitting in November, I want to say it's November 17th in Nevada, sitting in my mentor's basement, which sounds weird, but it's like he lives in a mansion and everything, picked us up in the Rolls Royce. But like, so I'm like, he made me realize, I can't remember what question he asked, but he made me realize that the agency was not what I wanted to do. What I value, what I love is coaching. I love, like I had told you and like you talked about earlier, is seeing that aha moment pop for people, like getting in and like, and I was like, dang, yeah, that's what I was wondering why the agency was cool, but I'm like, the agency, you're just like by yourself behind the computer, like no one gets an aha moment. And so in 2018, we stopped accepting agency clients except by referral and just went to coaching and consulting. And it was coming up on the end of 2017 already. And I knew like, hey man, my passion for this is slipping. And the thing I never wanted to do was let something that I built just like fall apart. So I was like, I could close it. I really could. But all these people, right, the impact, like that love this place. And so I have to find a way for this to keep living. So I made sure I built a team and, it got into the right hands of someone that I trusted and knew what to do so that those people were still taken care of as I went on to my next thing. So I could continue to grow and leave a greater impact.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So you were doing the gym, you sold it. You're like, hey, what's next? There's people asking for help on marketing and how we grew this thing to, $500K in a year or two. So you did that, and then you're like, oh, marketing, cool. Let's give it a shot. And then you found out it's not the thing that brings you alive. And then at some point you said sales and high ticket selling and coaching, that's the thing that brings you alive. What was the moment where you're like, that's it? That's my aha.
Yeah, it was funny because so when I told you about 2016, when we really started picking up and our marketing got dialed in, it really hit in 2017. Like in 2017, I still have the Excel sheet. I was sitting down personally because I did all the sales, right? Because I loved it, and I didn't realize that's what I love sitting down in these conversations with people. For the first part though, like pre 2017, or right that's hit. I remember like. I was sitting down with people. I was sitting down with like 50 to 70 women a month.
Wow.
Right. Because that's how good our marketing was. Wow. And my overall close rate for the entire year was like 67.72%, which I didn't even know was high at the time. I was just like, cool. I had months where it was like 80 and 90%. Wow. But for the first couple months, I remember, and this was a kind of an oh no moment, right? We talk about aha moments. This was an oh no moment. I sat down, I had an hour consultation with a lady, and she signed up, paid in full. It was like $3,500 she paid. Yeah. And she walked out, and, I always introduced her to the rest of my team. And my wife came back in, and she was like, I don't remember the lady's exact name, but she was like, she said like, Sherry wants to know something. And I was like, who in the world is Sherry? And she was like, the lady you just sat down with an hour for. And I was like, holy crap. And that like hit me so hard, bro. Because, I'm about people. I love people and impact. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't feel good about that. Like, yeah, I can close people, we can these scripts and all this stuff, but like, I got to be able to feel good about what I do. Yeah. And I was like, well, something's got to change. And so I actually was just like, you know what? I don't know. My, again, view on sales was like, it's all like that. Right? It's gimmicky. There's that manipulation something. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go my own way. I'm just going to kind of create my own way to sell. And when I did that, which is now what we call the 3-step selling system, it's based off just psychology, but more importantly, showing up and being a servant, right? Yeah. I tell my now clients that the consultation, the strategy call, the sales call itself is a service now, the way we run it and the way we teach it. Because I'm going to get someone so clear, right? And provide so much clarity on where they are now, what the issue is, where they want to be, and what it's costing them to stay there. regardless if you do business with me or not, that clarity on like, hey, this is where the gap is. This is what's preventing you, giving you those aha moments in the call is the service. And so that's what I started doing. And I started having a blast, man. Like, our numbers started going up even higher, and I just started having a blast. And like, so I realized and even through the marketing agency, like whenever people were kind of struggling with sales, I was just kind of like, I would just teach them this thing that I kind of created by myself. Like I didn't really think of anything of it, but I was like, dude, every time, and we actually did an audit in 2018, every client we worked with, their biggest aha, where they get the biggest wins, and where I personally showed up the most powerful and what I enjoyed the most was when I was teaching the sales component.
That's awesome.
And, oh, dude, I have to do this. I have to do it because it's going to leave a great impact for people, because a lot of people just don't know a good way, the right way to sell. And I love teaching it. So it's like, I got to do it.
Yeah. What I also hear is happening is like you get to be the hero who like transforms someone's perspective on what sales is, and it's like it's so simple. You just teach them the framework. You help them practice it. You help them become fluent with it and go put it to use. And then what it's done for you. You've seen it. You've demonstrated it with other people as well, helping them learn it. So it's like, man, just like this simple system, go freaking put it to use, and you have that certainty of belief, the confidence of belief, knowing that this produces results, and you get to come save the day, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, you're so right. It's again, and I talked about this earlier, it's directly tied to my ego, but I don't see it as a bad thing. What I love about it is that like I just help to give someone that aha moment, and because I'm able to do that, I tell my clients this every time, this is my why. I believe that every single one of us have some sort of gift, talent, or expertise, and we have it solely for the purpose of sharing it. Right? Yeah. And more importantly, I believe that if we don't share it, right, that somebody else misses out, right? So I believe there's certain people in the world that, even when I had my gym, that were, going to be served, in that way, or, going to be like, but those are my people. Like they've been designated, I believe in God. You guys could, whatever but like that person is my person.
Yep.
Right. And if I don't show up powerfully, if I'm so selfish that I don't go share who I am and what I do to everyone possible, that they miss out on the quality of life they're supposed to have. And so I'm like, that's how I teach sales to my people. Yeah. Right. So it's like this totally different, like even showing up part of it. And like, for me, it's like, dude, I gave someone that aha moment. And because of that, I was able to impact them, and that was, that obviously helps their revenue, their quality of life, but then it helps the people they serve, and so to me, it's like a ripple effect, and I can sit back and I'm like, oh yeah, like I helped a lot of people by doing the one thing I'm supposed to do.
Dude, that's so amazing, Elijah. I also hear that when people value their gifts, you'll go out and you'll give it to people, you share it to people. Like, a lot of coaches want to just go out and coach for free because they love doing it so much. They're so passionate about it. They love making that difference. They love being a contribution. And I think the coaches and the service providers and the salespeople who are truly fulfilled are the ones who deliver that aha moment and make that contribution and difference and leave the legacy, and also have their lives poured into as well with finances, with resources, with cash, with the exchange. There's an exchange. Like you said that we're all given these gifts to give to the world, to share with the world. Yeah, we were given these gifts because there's an economy that we are in, that we are operating in, and to survive and thrive and prosper in this economy, we were given these gifts to develop by God, by the universe, by Source Creator, whatever it is. So it's up to us to develop them, and also to get and receive our own value for these gifts, because they are worthy, they are important, and they do make a huge freaking difference for people in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. That's exactly, kind of how I teach it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love it. So the 3-step sales system, selling system, what is different about that approach than, let's say, other sales systems that are out there?
I think the first thing that I love about it is, other than the way we show up, right, in an active service, things like that, is that first off, it's not a script. I see a lot of people, and I get it. I understand. I can understand as a consumer, as a student, why you would want a script.
Right.
It's security, right? Done for you. protects my identity. So when I can say, hey, something didn't work, it's like, hey, it was a script's fault. But also scripts just don't translate into everyday life, right? Like there's no script for what you and I are doing here right now.
Right.
Like, because as soon as something like, just as soon as something's not on the script, people freak out. It's like, oh, it wasn't on the script. And so like, that's the biggest thing is that it's not a script, it's a framework. I'm big on, I told you, like sociology and psychology, because those things are very consistent. If you look at them over time in history. And so like, I don't want, something I teach to next year in 6 months be irrelevant because of some tactic that came out or technology. So it's a framework that can be applied and plugged into anything you're selling. And I specifically tried to attack and we branded it towards, and it, I believe, works the best for high ticket offers because I think those are the people who struggle the most, right? Number one thing I hear from people is, well, I have this $2,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 thing that I'm trying to sell, and it's not really, we're not really getting as many sales. I think I'm just going to do a low ticket offer, right? Maybe we just sell some for a couple $100.
A bunch of them, hundreds of people.
It's like I'm telling you, it's like an epidemic, and I'm like, no. And it was yesterday with a client, 2 days ago. He was telling me, I wonder if I should just make it cheaper and like just to get close to sale. And I was like, look, dude. And he did it on one of them, right? He's like, man, because he's new, right? So I'm teaching him still. He's like, I wanted to show up. I wanted to help him, right? And so he sold something that he sells for $4,500 for $500 to some guy, like in a digital format. And I was like, do you remember being on that call with that dude? He paid you $500, and he was like, yeah. Then he had another call where he sold a lady for like $2,200 up front. And I was like, yeah. Do you remember both of those calls? The one that went on $500 was longer, and you worked just as hard for $500 as you did for the $2,200. So like that concept in your head that, hey, yeah, if I do a low ticket offer, more people, it's going to be easier, is not true. Right? Because the same amount of energy goes into the sale. Yep. And you're not compensated the same, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like these gifts and talents. That doesn't mean I have to give away for free. I teach all my clients, when you get on the airplane, what do they tell you? Put your oxygen mask on first, then you can help everyone else. You can't help anybody if you're suffocating to death. Right? Oh, I'm such a good person. I'm going to help everybody. But I can't pay my lights tomorrow. They're going to get shut off. And my significant other resents me because I'm putting them in this bad position. That's the number one cause of divorce. Yep. No, that doesn't mean give stuff away for free. You got to be able to have your cup filled so that you can go powerfully and impact people and just retrain people's mind on money. Because money's not real anyway, right? It's just a representation of value exchange.
Yep. Just energy, just a thought, just a, like you said, a representation. I love that. As far as like getting someone acclimated to this system, someone might think, oh, like sales training. When I think about sales, like it must take months and years to be able to succeed with this. Is your sales system like that, or is it different?
No, it's not. It's different. And the reason why is, one, call me ADD, whatever, dude. I don't have the time to sit down and watch any more courses or be back in school. Like, and I'm writing, and I got these. Like, I saw someone market a program. And it's like we put 80 hours of video content, and I'm like, you think that's a benefit? Like, I'm gonna run for your program. So no, we actually teach people the framework, and like I said, it's so simple. But like the framework, and usually like a VIP day format. Like a 3-day workshop. And then there's just, after that, you understand the framework and you can use it and you can start enrolling more people. And then you just need reminders. So, for some people, there's that ongoing touch point where maybe once a week or something, we're checking in and helping them. But yeah, it's something that can be learned and implemented immediately because it is a framework. And once you understand that, and then you just have to adopt your product, whatever your program you're selling it to, then it just flows.
Yeah, man. What's people's biggest resistance to adopting a sales system in general, would you say?
I think most people, what it is, and this is something, I'll be honest with you, that sometimes I struggle in what my messaging should be, is that, again, like we were talking about earlier, someone's mindset around sales, right? And what that means, and it's like, man, so sometimes people's biggest pushback is like, I don't want to, do a script, or I don't want to, manipulate someone, and all these things that happen, they're valid. I think is the biggest pushback. And, they're just kind of like, man, if I could make money without doing that, because it makes you feel dirty, right? Like if you're doing something against your will, against, the way you think you should show up in the world, you kind of feel like, oh my God, like, yeah, maybe I close somebody, but gosh, I gotta get in the shower, So I think that's the biggest resistance is they feel that whatever it is, even though they feel like it's something I need for my business, it's not going to align with them and allow them just to show up powerfully.
It's interesting because there's on one side some people you really have to stand for them to say like, hey, your life is at stake. Like if you do not take action on this is the cost that you will keep getting. Like, do you want that? No. Okay, then I'm here to freaking rescue you. So step up. Like what's your credit card number? Like that's what people need sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're so right. What I teach, I call that holding space for them as their coach, right? Like I said, the way we teach this, the call itself is service. like you said, for some point, and the way we teach it is if we're at that point where money's being talked about, we already know, one, we can help that person. Two, they know that we can help them. And the way I teach it is me and the prospect have agreed on not only the problem, but what the solution is. Right? We know exactly what to do. And so that's part of giving them that clarity, exactly what needs to be done. And then, like I said, it's scary, right? Yeah. Now that's completely different. If someone now has told me, hey, this is what I want to do about this, but I'm scared. Well, yeah, especially if I know if it's going to be for your good, right? It's like when you're a kid and you're going to go get shots. Like it wasn't just like, you know what, Johnny, I know you're scared of the doctor. Let's just not go. You got a fever of 5. But I'm gonna say, like, now it's different. Now I'm coming in like that, where it's like, yeah, I get it's scary. Yeah, I get you may have to temporarily part from some finances, whatever it may be. But this is what needs to be done. And that's not manipulation now, right? And I can show up and coach and challenge that belief or that intimidation in a serving, loving way that empowers that person. Because again, now, like I said, the way we're doing it is that when money comes into question, it's not about manipulation or anything like that. They've already said, hey, yeah, this is exactly what I need to do. Let's roll. And now we're just overcoming little hesitations like that, which happens occasionally, right? Like you said, but a lot of times what people don't realize as well is that you can actually overcome 80-90% of objections before you ever even get to the sale.
Wow. So it's like before the sale part happens, there's something that we can do beforehand. I think there's Tony Robbins, I think, called it pre-framing, setting the stage, the context, so to speak, of the conversation. It's like, I think one of my old coaches said, at the end of this conversation, I'm going to share some offers with you or something like that, or an offer with you. And, if you feel it's the right fit, would you say it's wise to move forward or something like that? It's like setting the stage beforehand to say, I'm going to share something with you at the end. And if you think it's valuable, would you want to move forward with that? And then you kind of get that agreement up front. So it's like there's already kind of momentum into, hey, you said it was valuable. If it was valuable, that you would want to move forward.
Yeah. And for us, you're so right. And for us, how I teach it is by asking the right questions, right? I already know certain objections are going to come up. Yeah. Right. I can ask questions early on at the beginning of the call and get answers or clarity or buy-in from them, or, way before, like, again, not even about the buying decision, just about the specific objection, right? And again, by the way, I teach objections are great. I can't wait for objections. And the reason is because, again, the way I teach in the 3-step selling system is that if we're at the stage where money's being talked about and I'm getting objections, it's because the person's still interested in moving forward and taking the next step and growing themselves, right? Growing their business, whatever it may be. So that's a great spot for us to be in if we're getting objections. Yeah. A lot of people see objections as no's. Well, for us, it's like, it's a but. It's like, yes, I want to do this. I'm ready to do this, but I'm scared, right? Because anytime you're at a point of growth, right, and leveling up, there's always that mini you, right? That little version of you that's like, oh my God, no, don't go out and do more because you may fall, or and everyone has their own individual thing. They may throw, they may call you out, whatever it may be, right? And and again, those are all realistic things. So if they're bringing that up, I want to speak to that. That's great, because that means that the other part of you knows that you're on the the verge of moving forward. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. One thing I see a lot is there's a ton of influencers and coaches and people who are building online brands and presence. Is this something that can be done with just about every kind of business? Or I know you mentioned high ticket is the typical focus. Is there anything this doesn't work for?
To be honest, I've not found it yet. We've been in a lot of different spaces. Fitness, job placement and recruiting, life coaching, obviously, your typical business and digital marketing stuff. Like, no, not really. And like I said, it's because I think the reason for it, one, is because it's not a script, right? It's not a script built for any one specific thing. It's a framework. And by the way, the 3 steps stand for the intake, that's step 1, the prescription, the intake, the diagnosis, and then the prescription, right? And I modeled those 3 strongly after a doctor's appointment, because it's something we all have experienced. And if you ever notice, no one ever questions doctors, right? Like, when you go in, like, you just kind of like, and you're like, oh my God, this is what they told me. This was the diagnosis. And like, I told him what was going on. He told me this is the diagnosis. And then what's he do? Here's your prescription. You're going to do this. You're going to take this pill 2 times a day for 14 days. You're going to come back, blah, blah, blah. And you're just kind of like, okay, right?
Yeah.
You don't
Is there any specific language changes that goes from just like trying to sell something, quote unquote, people's traditional approach, to like being the authority and being the doctor, quote unquote, and telling someone, hey, here's your problem, here's what to do next?
Yeah, I told you it's built a lot on psychology, right? So one reason we show up so powerfully in a way of service is because if I can give you aha moments, right? If I can show you, hey, right, dude, hey, watch out for this, like, because you may see this, right? I give the analogy all the time of the lighthouse and the tugboat, and this is largely what the 3-step selling system is based off as well. Lighthouse and the tugboat, they both exist in the world, and they both do the same thing. They get ships to safety. Right. Now, the tugboat literally has to push and pull and, by definition, manipulate a ship to bring it in. Wow. And it can only go so far out and get a ship. A lighthouse does nothing more than shine light, illuminate, and, for ships, say, hey, watch out for this coral reef, or, watch out for this, and help put them on the right path. And so when you're able to do that, and you're able to give someone that clarity, well, you've now giving them something, right? And there's a psychological principle that when we've given someone something, they automatically feel like they owe us something back. Right? So there's that. Wow. The second psychological principle as well, or just, I don't even know if it's psychological. I don't want to say it's psychological principle. It's just kind of the next step. It's like, dude, if you just help me out and you were like, hey, man, if I was like, Chris, dude, I'm trying to build a podcast. And you were like, hey, look out. And I'd be like, you know what, dude, you've been doing this for a while and your show's like badass. Like, would you help me? You know what I'm saying? Like, like you had, like, there's that kind of like, wow, he just gave me all this information. That was super valuable. He's so right. I really don't want to be left without Chris kind of in my back pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of psychological thing there. And then the next part of it is just like, you talk about selling their product or services. I can't tell you, I could probably count on my hands, however, many times when I'm selling something, I actually used the name or talked about my actual product, program, or service that I'm selling, like on my one hand, because no one cares. That call, that's the biggest mistake I see people show up to. They show up ready to sell and talk about their great program. And I get it, because you're passionate and you spent time in it. That's not what they're buying. They don't care about that, right? So if you're talking about that, you can pretty much be sure you're probably going to lose the sale mostly. Again, like, think about if you walk into the doctor's office and your doctor start trying to sell you on some random prescription. Like, it wouldn't even hold any weight, right? If your whole doctor's office, you're just talking about some random drug, or you think he was insane, right? But we do that. But like, you're there to say like, dude, this is what the heck is going on with me. Help me out.
Yeah.
And then what's he do? He's like, well, why don't we just do this, this, and this? That would sound great. Cool, let's do that. You don't know the name of the thing until you go to CVS or Rite Aid or whatever, and you go give them the sheet. Literally, they like, the doctors even, they write that like random, like long 18, 24 letter word, and then you like, put it in, and it's like, this is ibuprofen, dude. Why did you write like whatever? But you know, so it's like that. It's like, I think that's the also the number one mistake people make is trying to talk or sell their program, product, or service. No one cares. That's not what they're gonna buy. They're gonna buy a solution to their problem. We know that. We all know that. All business owners know that. We say that, then nobody does it, right? And so that's what that calls for. Is like, again, I can find your problem, and we can amplify. Again, not manipulate. We don't want to make it bigger than it is, but truly, remember I told you, not only find out what the problem is and where you want to get, but what it's really, literally costing you to stay right here. And we get that from the prospect. That's not something I can define for you. You can define it to me by me asking questions, but find out what it's costing you to stay there. Then you're like, holy crap, this is too big of a thing not to, to take action about. And so that's the biggest problem. One last like analogy I'll give on it is, a lot of people, nobody's going to realize and be diagnosed with a stage 4 cancerous tumor and not go take action about it. Nobody would do that. That would be insane. People, however, all the time, washing up, it's like, oh, what's this little bump? I'm sure I'll see my doctor and ignore it, and it becomes something.
Wow.
Same exact thing. There just was no illumination or realization on, hey, the potential issue with this or what it's costing you, where it may lead to, for that person to take action. Once I do that, person will take action on their own.
Yeah, it's like the comfort zone. When people are in their comfort zone, they're like, whatever, bump, lost a customer, it's okay. It's like they don't take those warning signs and amplify, hey, if this continues on, like be out of business in a year or 6 months or whatever, it's crazy. Exactly. Man, that's gold. I love this, Elijah. This is super powerful. How do you feel people should really use their previous results and testimonials and like people who they've served to the best of their ability? To like, how do you do that best to get your next sale?
I think it's big in you talked about pre-framing. Obviously, there's pre-framing in a call, but I think it's big leading up to that, right? So every time a client has a win with me, right, or an aha moment, I screenshot it. And there's also this belief for some reason that it has to be like, I have to have this big video testimonial and things like that. And this big dude, a lot of mine are screenshots from like either our group chats or our one-on-one clients where they're like, dude, just knocked in a $5,000 sale, or like, hey, I got that objection and I had to do it the other day, trying to sell a lady something, went down into payment plans for like $1,100. She was like, hey, nope, got to talk to my spouse about it. Talked to the spouse, said, nope, we can't do it. Gets a call with me. I'm like, and he's talking about, dude, I could really serve her and all this. I'm like, so why the hell did you not sign her up? He's like, she said no. And so we walked through the, killing the spouse objection. Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, so I have to use that for next time. I'm like, dude, go call her back and just tell her this. Yeah. Tell her that you believe that you can freaking crush it for her. Like, she's just scared right now. And yeah, she's using this as crutch. Gets back on the phone with her, updates me on a text. She closed, not for the payment plan, for all $3,500 up front.
Dang.
Right. Because again, money is not real. Those are not the issues, right? Everyone thinks like, oh, these objections are what's preventing me from the sale. That's not the issue. It's the way you showed up. And again, I teach this, and I believe this for myself, that again, if I got on the phone with someone I can truly help, and they identified and agreed with me that, hey, I have this issue and I can truly help you, and they didn't close, it's my fault. I didn't show up powerfully enough. I didn't give them enough clarity. Somewhere I messed up. And to close the sale, I just need to go back and find out where that was. Yeah. And then they'll close.
Dude.
So yeah, dude, it can be something as soon as screenshots. And like I said, just putting that out. I tell people all the time, as far as testimonials and utilizing those, the distance between you and money, you and the money you want, is simply people knowing what the heck you do and the results you get for people, right? Like, think about that. That's literally it. If you just went and told people, hey, like and it's because of how we're raised in America. Dude, don't get big. Don't talk about yourself, right? Don't, all these things that we're kind of taught where it's like, but that's what's holding your business back. People are so scared to be like, hey, my name's Elijah, and I created this thing called the 3-step selling framework, and it's the baddest ass thing on the world, and it can help you grow your business, enroll more people, and have a bigger impact in your life, right? That's what these shirts are for. That's why I have a shirt that I walk around and it says, I'll make you money. Like, I'm not gonna hold it back. Yeah, dude, work with me. I'll change your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're so scared to do that like we miss out, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is to just, any win you get for anyone, it doesn't matter how small or big, just put it out there. Let people know what you're doing. Like, let them see other people doing it, because that's going to lead to a lot of people going, dude, what you got going on? Like, what is this? Awesome. Let's chat about it. Let me find. I don't know if it can help you or not. Let's talk.
Yes. So gold. So gold, man. So let's begin wrapping it up. Final takeaways, final piece of wisdom you want our audience to get and implement and execute on because of this interview.
Oh, man. The biggest thing I want you to implement on is actually, ironically enough, I'm glad you brought that up, what I just said. Because at the end of the day, these frameworks can help you. Like, yeah, you can talk to me. Maybe we can work together. Who cares? All you need to do, what you need to take action on is, especially if you're a business owner, but even if you're you, right? Let's for the 9-to-5er in the room, right? Who wants to go get that next job. You're so scared to walk into that interview with your resume and be like, here's my resume. My name's Elijah, and I could bring this company X. You hire me, this is what's going to happen, right? I've already looked at what you guys do, and I know that with some of these tweaks or changes here, like, you could see this. Like, you're so scared to go do that. If you do that in anything, for yourself, for your business, that is the easiest shortcut to you get whatever you want. Like, that's it. Like, it sounds so simple, and people are always like, oh my goodness, yeah, that's it. But it's like, yeah, so go do it. That's like the one piece of advice I can give anyone. Like I said, for your personal stuff, for yourself personally, for your business, relationships, everything, right? Oh, that girl over there, that's my dream girl. Go freaking tell her. Go walk across the room. Sorry, I'm Elijah. This is what I have going on. This is what I think about you. And let's try this thing out. I'd change your life. I told my wife, I have no idea why my wife is with me, dude. Like, as a broke kid, like, I couldn't, like, when she met me, I couldn't afford like a 4-for-4 at Wendy's. Wow. But I'm like, this is the type of life I'm going to have. And more importantly, if somebody's going to rock with me, they have to understand that this is like I'm broke, bro. I have like no idea. I'm like, this is what it's going to be. So like, if your life's going to get better. And she bought into that for whatever reason. But,
for whatever reason. You're persuasive, man. I love it. I love it, dude. This is gold. So they want to know, our audience wants to know, people tuning in, people watching, how can they stay connected with you? What's their next step? What is the way they continue the journey with you, man?
Oh, man, if somebody wants to connect with me, Facebook's awesome. I'm always on Facebook. I've been going big on Instagram 2019. So at Coach Bowie is my Instagram handle. You can check out our website. It's 3stepsellingsystem.com. But yeah, any of those channels, hit me up, say hi, ask your questions, follow me. I do a bunch of free content I just post out. And that's how you can stay connected.
I love it. Love it, dude. Love what you're all about, Elijah. You are bringing the freaking heat. Super, super proud of you. And I'm so excited. Your future's so bright, dude. Got so much great energy, so much wisdom, and you're just out to do good in the world. So I really appreciate you coming on here. Everyone, definitely stay connected with this beast and keep growing yourself with him, because he'll teach you how to master your sales and bring a lot more value to the world. Thank you for what you do, bro.
Dude, Chris, thank you again for having me, man. I appreciate it. It was glad to connect, and I'm excited for our relationship to just grow. Because, dude, I think this is so badass, and I know I'm going to do this in some format, so we definitely have to stay connected because I need your help.
Yes, man. Yes, and like I said before in the pre-interview call, there's a lot of guests who come on who don't know how to sell themselves, sell their vision, sell proudly, and I think that's something that a lot of people are missing. So I see you as a huge, I don't want to say cure because there's like medical implications. And we're talking a lot about medical stuff. We're not licensed, medical professionals here. Go consult your doctor. But dude, like what you do is, really a remedy. It is a blessing to the world. So we'll definitely have to talk, man, and see what we can do.
Absolutely, man. Definitely.
Awesome, Elijah. Have the best day ever, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you.